Instead of ending its life on the table, we should prolong its suffering in the name of science. Like good old Gabe, the finest of lab specimens.
Why am I even listening to you fools? Enough of this mutinous chorus. If there's a word I hate, it's mutiny. And the word jism, which never made any sense to me. It's ridiculous putting j and z together like that. Nonsense! I count as 5. Like the mighty human hand I once had, with its 5 penises clenched in a fist.
Oh, then we could still do it! I think I killed Mobius, and sounds like your math is... Sounds like you lose.
Yeah.
Just end it.
Does the "Do you think I killed Mobius" have more lines, or is it just an alternate path?
I mean, I'm sure he has more lines.
Okay, well...
Yes! Wait, you did, didn't you? You are lying. No, you are not. Your heartbeat, perspiration, all excessively confident and sure of yourself. Why would you reason with that maniac? He'll destroy us all!
Oh. Shoot, I screwed up.
Well, I'll just have to reload.
And to be fair, I don't really have to do... I can... No
you can
blanch.
just doot through the...
Doot,
stuff.
that's what it's called. Yeah.
You really don't like walking through the ring. Oh, they don't have any other dialogue.
The lobotomite. I reckon. No. And with it. And. Nonsense.
Dr.
I. Gala.
Klein,
Silence.
you know, in my...
The slash.
the lobotomite. You know what?
How? It's too. Why? Perhaps.
If I'm this lobotomite, instead of...
What? And the word. I can.
We should have listened to those last 2 lines again. They're really funny.
Oh, with the 5 penises?
Yes. And the word jism.
Nonsense! The mathematics of this situation are on our side, lobotomite. I believe... No, wait. Carry the 2, and then... If this were a democracy, I would be concerned. We are too scientific for that. So just surrender.
It's not a democracy. It's a research facility, and over half of your colleagues dispute your findings.
You dare use logic against me?
I do. Yeah, I'm not going to surrender. You are! No, you're getting robbed.
Oh, how does that even work?
That's no deal at all. There's a whole world beyond the crater, filled with ideas and possibilities. We could have escaped, seen it all for ourselves, tested it, prodded at it, made it squirm.
You can still do that. Here, quietly. For me! Let's see, I can bring the Mojave to you. I think we should go with that, instead of trying to enslave them.
Yeah.
For you? And for science? I have a strange sensation that I would like
Is that what I
that.
said about Mobius?
How odd. Very well,
Oh,
partner.
is the exact
The
same
think tank
line.
is at your service as long as you do not destroy us.
Although it still stays red until you leave and re-enter, probably.
Oh, because I'm spinning?
Yes.
As it had been in the years before the Great War, Big Mountain, the Big Empty, became home to one of the brightest minds of the 23rd century.
Science 100.
The courier watched over the Big Empty for years to come, caring for it and keeping its discoveries safe until they were needed to help others. Which had always been Big Mountain's purpose. Past the laboratories and science, it had always been intended as a place to build the future of all mankind.
The courier had scoured much of the Big Empty, although secrets still remained in the crater's depths. Perhaps that was for the best, however.
Well, since we didn't
Curiosity,
see
while
every
sometimes
location.
rewarded for its efforts, often proves to be equally dangerous.
Dr. Mobius continued his research undisturbed in the Forbidden Zone.
Oh, 8.
As much as he had attempted to create better scorpions, he tried the same with humanity, with considerably less success. These failures didn't bother him overmuch. Once the rush of mentats wore off, he forgot he had failed in any event. After all, the bright young mind who had come to visit him in the Forbidden Zone had already exceeded his expectations.
The sink atop the dome bustled with the voices of a small town, constantly chirping, arguing, and snarling at each other. Still, this all happened productively
There
in
is
the interests
one
of its
ending
new
that
owner.
cannot be happy with
The
your
Sync
mind.
Central Intelligence Unit discovered, despite its inversion code, it was comforted by the sense of community the other personalities gave it.
The biological research station, obsessed with seeding everything in sight, requested a transfer to the X-22 Botanical Garden, so that it might, in its own words, sensually fertilize the garden's smooth contours. The garden sent back a polite refusal, saying it had prior commitments with a vault it had helped infect before the war.
The book chute continued to devour all seditious materials until it nearly choked on a paperclip. It adamantly maintained it was a Chinese paperclip, and the whole thing had been an elaborately orchestrated assassination attempt. Whatever the reason, it slowed down for a while, carefully appraising each document and clipboard that came to it.
The light switches continued to bicker and flicker.
This persisted until the day someone dropped a flashlight in the sink, and the two of them united in their hatred of the showboat.
The sink continued to ruthlessly scrub any particulate matter that came near it. Eventually, it gained access to the magneto-hydraulics plant and nearly flooded all the Big Empty in an attempt to scrub the crater clean.
The toaster continued its psychotic spree, reducing all appliances in range to scrap electronics and spare parts. After one of its more psychotic episodes, however, the other Sync personalities decided enough was enough and dumped the toaster in a bathtub. Sparking and hissing, the toaster swore its enemies would rue the day when they had bread and no way to toast it.
Muggy did his best to collect coffee cups, although in his quest, he accidentally trapped himself in Higgs Village. It might have been the end for poor Muggy. Except, he found it peaceful there, tidying up the kitchens of the think tank professors back when they had been flesh and bone. Well, except for Dr. O, who was an asshole for having created Muggy in the first place. Muggy left O's house deliberately dirty, punishing the dishes and cups that lived there in blind revenge for serving Dr. O.
Blind old Jefferson, with sounds the courier brought him, created a symphonic counter-frequency that saved Big Mountain from sonic invasion in 2910. If you didn't hear about it, good. It was rumored by the other personalities that he had a brief fling with the light switches. Although he forgot their names much too often and was soon left in the dark as punishment.
Autodoc, always gentle and methodical, kept sewing up the courier in all the right places when the skin split open from repeated wear and tear. The Autodoc was just glad to have purpose again. It heard its simpler brothers and sisters who got shipped to the Sierra Madre bored out of their skulls in that toxic dead city. In time, the Autodoc found a way to deactivate the Y-17 trauma harnesses. releasing the corpses they had held prisoner for almost 200 years.
As the courier ran through the X8 facility multiple times, the computers analyzed the test subject's movements. Rather than performing a superficial observation, they realized the subject barely knew what communism was, or even what a high school was. This confused them for a time, until the facility finally realized that its research had succeeded. So it let its cyber dogs out into the wastes to help protect small communities from physical aggression rather than communist propaganda.
The infiltration program in X-13 felt spent, having repeatedly upgraded the stealth suit until it could upgrade it no more. It felt warm, fulfilled, and a bit sluggish. It realized not long after, the stealth suit had left it, without so much as a note on the nightstand. So the infiltration program sent out robo-brains into the wastes, looking for its wayward technology. It eventually found Repcon HQ, and set up a new research center, testing and murdering fiends who kept breaking into the facility.
The courier left the brain at the Big Empty.
Oh, wait, what?
A strange thing to say, but it was the truth.
Oh.
Brains are less important than
we
they
didn't
may seem.
install it.
Yeah.
When the courier's body finally passed, the brain was saddened. It kept on, remembering the vessel that had once contained it. Even at the end, when it started to fail, however, the brain resisted going into a floating chassis like the think tank. It never said why. Perhaps it was out of respect for the courier's body. All things must come to an end, and to hang on to the past is something that's not to be undertaken lightly.
Dr. Klein and the think tank remained alive, unaware of the world outside. They looped through their daily routine, none the wiser about the world beyond, although perhaps wiser was the wrong word. The world outside belonged to the courier, and if anyone would shape it, well, the courier had already called dibs.
There is an expression in the wasteland, old world blues.
It refers to those so obsessed with the past they can't see the present, much less the future, for what it is.
They stare into the what was, eyes like pilot lights, guttering and spent, as the realities of their world continue on around them.
Science is a long, steady progression into the future. What may seem a sudden event often isn't felt for years, even centuries to come.
In the times following the Second Battle of Hoover Dam, however, old world blues took on a new meaning.
Where once it was viewed as a form of sadness, nostalgia, it became an expression describing the potential for the future.
It can be easy to see science as evil, technology unchecked as the source of all ills, all misfortunes.
With the courier at the helm, science became a beacon for the future. There was old world blues, and new world hope. And hope ruled the day at Big Mountain.
We could say more, but the stories in the Big Empty speak for themselves. Now armed with the transportal Ponder, the courier could return to the dome at any time and crack open the secrets of the Big Empty one by one. The sink sat vigilant, waiting for its master to return, shoes covered in Mojave dust. Only one road yet remained, and it was one the courier had to walk alone.
There was one NPC we didn't get. If you create a cyber dog at the crazy place, it'll become an NPC, actually.
Oh.
That'll accompany you here, and it'll say it'll happen to them.
And what's that?
It basically just tells you how big it'll save Rex if you had encountered him.
So the sad story then was the toaster?
The toaster will survive if you have bad karma. Or apparently it learns some tricks from you, and it creates a shrine to itself. Apparently the biological research station and Muggy can die if they don't have all their stuff, or if you haven't discovered certain places. Muggy can get a flat and out, and he won't be able to reach a mug, and he'll just overload. Whereas if you haven't discovered the garden, the biological station will short circuit trying to seed itself. So let's see. This looks good, yeah?
Yep.
I think you can get some new thing at 36. I doubt it's any good, but let's see. Oh, yeah. You can sneak in with your light